Hello and welcome to the fifth security briefing in the CMF Vacaville Kairos Security Briefing Series. Today we will review important policies of KPMI, or Kairos Prison Ministry International, our ministry's parent organization. It is important to understand these policies in addition to what we have already covered with respect to state law and prison rules and regulations. And the fact that there is considerable overlap amongst these three different sources should actually add to their credibility and importance in our view. KPMI, or Kairos Prison Ministry International, is the global governing body for our ministry. They publish an official manual, which we call the Red Book, that lays out how to conduct our weekend, our instructional reunion, and the ongoing conduct of our ministry. We want every team member to have and be familiar with this manual, and we ask for a $20 donation to cover our cost for the manual. However, if anyone is unable to pay, we still want you to have it, and we will provide it to you for free if necessary. One of the key concepts in the manual and in our training is the concept of riverbanks. These are the boundaries for everything we do in our ministry. Kairos uses the concept to address various aspects of our ministry, and the concept is useful because sometimes the riverbanks are wide, allowing us significant discretion and flexibility in how to act, and sometimes they are very narrow, allowing no discretion in how we act. Today, we will discuss a number of policies related to our Kairos Inside ministry in the institution that are found in our manual, specifically ones where the riverbanks are very narrow and do not allow for discretion or exceptions. The first riverbank prohibits smuggling of any items into or out of the prison. This includes not only prohibited items, but any items that have not been disclosed to the prison authorities and are not on an approved gate clearance list. The second riverbank is not to bring in any metal or glass objects. This includes spiral-bound notebooks, as someone could potentially reshape the metal for unauthorized purposes. Similarly, the food seasoning bottles that we bring in are plastic to ensure that they cannot be used as cutting instruments by anyone. The third riverbank is not to purchase anything inside the prison, particularly from an inmate. As discussed last week, this could put a volunteer in a compromised position, in addition to being a general distraction from what we are in the prison to do. If we follow the rule not to bring in any money, this should be easy to follow. The fourth riverbank is not to mail letters for inmates. This follows our nothing in, nothing out mantra. Even if they show us the letter and it seems harmless to us, we do not really know what kind of coded message it could actually represent. This is simply not part of our purpose inside the prison. The next riverbank is to honor the warden's authority. We must always remember that we are operating in the warden's house and that we will always follow the warden's rules with cheerful flexibility. The warden's and his staff's first concern is security, and this may lead them to change their direction to us from time to time. We do not want to question these changes. We just want to adapt to them with cheerful flexibility. Another riverbank is that we cannot be on an inmate's visitation list, even if the institution allows this. We do not want to blur the lines between the Kairos ministry and the kind of general support, encouragement, and assistance that family and friends can provide to inmates. Finally, do not give anything to an inmate. It is acceptable to mail some items to inmates, even though we do not encourage this in the context of our ministry, because anything we mail is subject to inspection by the prison authorities. But we may not hand or leave with an inmate anything that we bring into the prison, even if it was on an approved gate clearance list. Another riverbank is that we may not pass messages on behalf of inmates in either direction with anyone. This is a corollary of our nothing in, nothing out mantra. Even though a message may seem very innocuous, we do not really know what they mean, and they could have dangerous implications that we are oblivious to. With respect to religious materials, do not use your own judgment about bringing in and sharing Bibles, other books, articles, or tracts of any kind. Everything of this type given to the inmates must be approved by the chaplain, and on our weekend, Kairos provides all of the materials that we need for the effective conduct of our program. A few more KPMI do's and don'ts include the need to follow Kairos and institutional policies, procedures, and regulations. This helps preserve the privilege of working inside the prison, and it reflects well on our own faith and Christian witness. Dress appropriately. No loud or flashy clothing, makeup, or jewelry that could draw attention to ourselves. We want this experience to be about the inmates and their walk with Jesus Christ, and we do not want to make anything else the object of their attention. This is in addition to the need to avoid wearing clothes that resemble inmate or correctional officer clothing, which includes anything blue, denim, olive drab, or gray. Respect and adhere to the Kairos ecumenical common ground, focusing always on what unites us as Christians and avoiding subjects that tend to divide Christians. We do not do altar calls. We do not use rosaries. We focus on the talks and meditations as presented per the manual. Do not join inmates in criticizing the prison, the courts, the police, or any authority figures. As previously explained, this can make us a mark or a target for pressure to violate the prison's rules ourselves. And in general, it can only tend to discredit Kairos and our own Christian witness. Finally, never be alone with an inmate. This is not going to be an issue in the community room or the chapel areas, but it could potentially be an issue in the sacristy areas where the agape team and the prayer team base their operations. Even if it requires extra coordination with other volunteers on our team and some inconvenience, we ask that you make sure that this policy is followed. If there was ever to be any kind of accusation against one of us, we want to be able to turn to another team member to confirm the details of any potential situation. This concludes our relatively short briefing on the policies of Kairos Prison Ministry International. While there is indeed considerable overlap with the laws and with the prison regulations that we have already reviewed, it is good to know that all three of these sources of guidance for our ministry are aligned with one another. This should make it clear to us all that this level of consensus reflects the wisdom of long experience in the prison environment and should make us respect this wisdom all the more. Next week, we will go over a summary of all the key points that have been covered in the first 5 security briefings. We look forward to talking to you again then and appreciate your attention to the issue of security in our ministry.